for a lot of people, you got to think Thanksgiving is a top 3 holiday for sure. I don't know that many people who would put it at the number ones. Would no top? For me, I got to go. I mean,
this is a good question.
What is your top 3 holidays? I'm not saying in order of importance because then you talk to people and the religious. Religious stuff comes into it. For example, most Catholics that I know, I grew up a Roman Catholic. Most Catholics I know would say their favorite is Christmas, even though Easter to the church is a more important holiday. But like the Easter Bunny, no. Santa Claus. I'm just talking about the coolness and the joy of the holiday. Clay, I think I go. Oh man, see, this is one of these things.
I've got my list. If you want me to start, just when you asked this question, I just did my gold, silver, bronze, my top 3 power rankings here.
You already have it.
You mentioned it, and I was like, oh, let me think about
That's
it.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't even have to.
Got it.
Okay, you're right. I mean, I have a feeling ours will probably 2 out of 3 will be the same. But go ahead. What is gold, silver, bronze medal?
I actually, Buck, just came from my kids and a bunch of other neighborhood kids in a mass football game. They are all out of school, and first thing they want to do, my 8-year-old, my 12-year-old, and my 14-year-old are all a part of the same game. Big game breaking out. I'm sure many of your kids are out. Hopefully they're running around and having a fantastic time.
So I have cousins who had I grew up right in the middle of Manhattan. I lived right in the concrete jungle, right in New York City. And we would go out. I had cousins that had a big place, like a house, like how people live in houses.
Yeah, you're still stunned by how people live in houses. Yeah,
yeah. They had a yard.
Yeah,
and
they
had
grass.
There were not like 15 or 20 floors of people living above and below them. They just had a house, and they had a big dog. But I remember we'd play basketball and even throw a football around, but we'd have to wear jacket and tie for Thanksgiving and Christmas as a family of the little kids. You remember the days when you could just go out there, no stretching, no,
oh, yeah.
Now I'm like, oh man, I need like 4 minutes of like self shiatsu on my lower back before I could even pick something up off the ground. Back then, man, Thanksgiving, my cousins, we were all the same age basically, throwing around footballs, playing 4-on-4 basketball. It was America.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I bet we have a lot of people who work in hospitals for Thanksgiving. And first of all, we appreciate everybody who doesn't get Thanksgiving off and has to work. We know that as many of you out there listening to us right now, keeping the country running. But the amount of people who come in with Thanksgiving family football injuries, very often older guys whose hamstrings give out, maybe the ACL doesn't stretch as well as it used to, massive numbers of injuries, such that, Buck, I told my boys, I was like, hey, when we finish the show today, I'll get back out. We'll play some football. It's like 65 degrees here in Nashville. Perfect day. But I said, Dad is all-time quarterback. Only thing I'm risking is the shoulder. I'm not getting out trying to run routes. I'm certainly not trying to keep up with my kids and chase them down and get the two-hand touch tags on. So Dad is like a hired gunman, just stands there with the old school quarterback, all-time QB, both sides, and gets blamed anytime he throws an interception or doesn't make a perfect throw by every kid on the field, who is always judging the QB. So that is what's going on here. You came out. We kind of live in a utopian, like kids run around. It's like Goonies every day in this neighborhood. And so I know many of you will be gearing up for those games. And I hope, again, as I mentioned, I know many of you are in your cars right now, traveling to see the grandparents, traveling to see the kids, everybody out and about. I think they said 40 million on the roads. Woo. A few more million in the planes, and a couple million on the buses and the trains. I mean, people are moving. This is the first Thanksgiving that we've had where you'll have about as many people going as pre-pandemic era. Would
2019.
You prefer to travel on Thanksgiving or just stay home? What's your preferred? Now, you're just getting married, so the family dynamic can alter whether you want to travel or stay home.
This is the last solo with my family Thanksgiving that I will have, and Carrie is with her family. And then we're going to have to do Clay, you're going to have to advise me on this. Clay is going to be marriage consigliere, We'd be like, Clay,
I'm
how do we
18
do
years
this?
in.
Do we break down Christmas, Thanksgiving? Is that a one package? Is it two different things? Do you go all in one year? What about New Year's? I got to work all these things out.
It makes a big difference, and I know those of you out there traveling right now, once you add kids to the travel routine, it makes a big difference. Because kind of easy to go back home when it's just you and the wife or just you and the girlfriend or whatever else. But when you start adding in multiple little people and their schedules, it gets way more complicated.
For a lot of people, you got to think Thanksgiving is a top 3 holiday for sure. I don't know that many people who would put it at the number one. No top. For me, I got to go. I mean, I think
this is a good question.
What are your top 3 holidays? I'm not saying in order of importance because then you talk to people and the religious religious stuff comes into it. For example, most Catholics that I know, I grew up a Roman Catholic. Most Catholics I know would say their favorite is Christmas, even though Easter to the church is a more important holiday. But like the Easter Bunny, no. Santa Claus. I'm just talking about the coolness and the joy of the holiday. Clay, I think I go. Oh man, see, this is one of these things.
I've got my list. If you want me to start, just when you asked this question, I just did my gold, silver, bronze, my top 3 power rankings here.
You already have it.
You mentioned it, and I was like, oh, let me think about it.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't even have to. Okay, you're right. I mean, I have a feeling ours will probably 2 out of 3 will be the same. But go ahead. What is gold, silver, bronze medal?
Gold medal, holiday power ranking for me, Christmas.
Yeah,
I think Christmas is overwhelmingly the number one,
yes.
Right? I would be stunned if people would disagree. I think the more likely, when you are a kid, Christmas is certainly number one. When you have kids, Christmas is certainly number one. Maybe when you're like a young adult, you could come with number 2 on my list, Halloween. Halloween is my second favorite holiday. And I don't even know that it counts as a holiday because we don't get a day off. But Christmas, number 1, Halloween is my silver medal, and then my bronze medal goes to July 4th. So that would be my power rankings: Christmas, Halloween, July 4th, my 3 favorite holidays.
I go Christmas, July 4th, Thanksgiving, in that order.
Okay.
Now, taking the theology out of it for Easter, because that is therefore the most important holiday. But if you're just talking about fun time of year, I go Christmas,
joy.
July. I love July 4th, man. As a holiday, I have great memories of July 4th as a holiday. It's also a time when, I always feel like July 4th is a holiday where the expectations, like we're just celebrating America, the expectations aren't that you don't have to go see family. It's not like New Year's Eve where you have to throw the biggest party, which is, as we all know, a huge, don't ever try to make New Year's Eve the best night ever because you'll fail. 4th of July, if you just want to hang out, have a couple of drinks, do a little barbecue on the back porch or something, that's a great 4th of July, right? There's no...
Yes.
If you want to see family, that's fantastic, but you don't feel that it's the same. Like Thanksgiving and Christmas, people are just getting on the road. We used to drive, Clay, and I think it's a 6-hour drive. My family would drive because I have family in still do have family in Charlottesville, Virginia area. Part of the family on my dad's side is from Virginia. We would drive on Thanksgiving, like today, this day, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, every year. We would drive down to Charlottesville, I-95 the whole way. That drive,
I-95 is
that
tough.
drive was brutal.
Yes.
6 of us in the car. I just remember, we got lost one year in a Civil War battlefield. I kid you not. This is pre-GPS era. So we're driving around. I'm like, I think that's a cannon. Like, where are we? This used to happen. So it was a little bit of the National Lampoon's Vacation vibe of the Sexton
I bet
family.
I've been to that Civil War battlefield, by the way, as a super Civil War nerd.
I think it was Manassas. I think we got
across the river. You're from the Potomac. You get over there. I'll put Thanksgiving, by the way, Buck, at 4. Because I don't want anybody to lose their mind who is a huge advocate of Thanksgiving. But my top 4 would be
I think
Mount Rushmore, as it were.
If you're looking at just the holidays again for what they are, not spiritually or in a broader sense, but like the traditions around them, there's something especially. Do you guys get the color change in Tennessee? Because I will say, when the Northeast and New York, New Jersey, New England really hits their stride is with the changing of the leaves, the cider comes out, gobble gobble, there's turkeys running around, and there's just something really special about that. I feel like if you live in If you live in southern Arizona, it's a little different climate, the different vibe.
I would also say, and again, this is just for sheer fun, Memorial Day's up there too. It's given Thanksgiving a run. Obviously, it's a very serious holiday, but for many people out there, it's the official start of summer, and summer is such a fun season. You know, school gets out, you're a kid, you get out for the holiday, the long summer break, you can start to travel, and for a lot of people, vacation summer starts around then. So I would put Memorial. I don't even know in terms of like activities that are fun. Again, I know there are, like you mentioned, Easter, Veterans Day. There are a lot of days that are important. You can toss in a variety of different holidays. But I think those are probably the 5 where fun is a part of them.
And right? Sometimes you catch a little shade for this one, but I just got to throw it out there. There's still this big debate. How did we, I know that historically we got to the place where turkey is just the centerpiece protein. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. My driver, a very friendly gentleman from South Asia who is a Sikh. We had a long conversation this morning. A taxi driver, New York. I'm taking a cab in from LaGuardia, and he was saying, "Well, what are you doing for Thanksgiving, sir?" We're talking. He has a wife and a young child, and he said, "I love Thanksgiving, but I think turkey is dry, and honestly, roast chicken is better." So he's like, "We do roast chicken." I'm sitting there. I'm saying, "Buddy, I think you're onto something." People get so mad about this when the turkey. Why is it that we don't eat turkey the other 364 days of the year unless it's in cold cut form? Which, let's be honest, it's just like sodium. I mean, he's onto something. People get into this debate.
I had a lot of turkey and cheese sandwiches. I'm a pro turkey guy. Now I understand that there is a very anti-turkey base out there, and I will say it would be just tossing it out there. If it were the tradition that we all had steak on Thanksgiving, first of all, the climate change people would lose their minds, right? If you try to
do you see there's a recent study out that red meat, all the stuff you've heard about red meat, this has been getting a lot of play, that it's not good for you is not true.
Yeah, I think
they've done a huge study that they've been saying it makes you fat, it brings up your cholesterol, it'll heart disease. Lies. Red meat is good for you.
Do you look at calories on menus?
I mean, I should.
Yeah, well, I do sometimes, and I eat at a lot of chain restaurants because I got the boys and we're out and about. Steak is remarkably low in its caloric count. Did you know that?
Depends on what kind of steak, my man.
I mean, like a filet. I eat fillets. Fillets have almost no, there's a very low calorie count. The other one that stunned me, Buck, and I'm going to blow people's minds with this one, pancakes. Did you know that pancakes have almost no calories?
What?
Yes, I swear to you.
Clay. I'm trying to. We should have pre-talked this segment, man. That's crazy
unless
talk.
Big Pancake is somehow gotten the industry calorie counters off. My boys love IHOP, right? And I will take my kids. We used to go to IHOP all the time, and I was blown away by how few calories pancakes have.
Well, I mean, with or without syrup, because without maple syrup, pancakes are a doorstop, Clay. We got to hold you accountable for this.
Even with, they have all these fancy ways to make pancake, and so you can look at it and be like, okay, with and for my IHOP aficionados out there, they have all the different types of syrup, right? You got the strawberry syrup, you got your blueberry, you got your traditional maple syrup. None of them, Buck, I swear, none of them have high calorie counts. My whole life, I would have thought the least healthy thing you could eat on a menu would be pancakes. I will tell you, stunned on both pancake and steak, that they don't have very much calories.
I mean, it's definitely not the blooming onion.
Are you looking it up right now? You look like you're reading right now. You're in disbelief over my pancake calorie take.
I mean, I'm trying to pull some of that. Well, it also depends on, look, this is where you get into a stack of 3 IHOP buttermilk pancakes with nothing on them is about 500 calories.
That's not much, right? Wouldn't you have thought way more than 500 calories for a stack of IHOP?
But when you put a pat of butter on each of the pancakes and drown them in syrup, you're getting into like 800, 900 calorie territory, my friend, real fast.
Okay, the Cinestack, which I believe is the greatest of the IHOP pancake offerings. This is like cinnamon, sugar, it's incredible. I think it only had like 800 calories. And the reason why I bring this up is I would go to IHOP and I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to get chicken tenders instead. Or I'm going to get, and people make fun of me about this, sometimes I would get the salmon at IHOP. I have ordered the salmon at IHOP before.
How do they prepare the salmon at IHOP?
It's a great question, and probably why you should order the salmon at IHOP. Nobody's ever walked into IHOP, maybe other than me, and been like, you know what I want to get here today? A healthy fish. But when you looked, or I'd also get the steak tips. Again, not a lot of people probably gone into IHOP to get the steak tips. The steak tips had more calories than the Cinestack pancakes. Blew my mind. Couldn't believe it.
I mean, we're about to get inundated with emails from the various IFBB and fitness competitors in our audience. We're going to start talking about macros and that Thanksgiving's not the time to blow it out and forget all about the...
Well, Allie, who is super healthy on our crew, is already saying, but they lack nutrients. I'm not claiming that you could live forever on pancakes and be perfectly healthy. I'm just saying I thought it would be in the thousands.
I'm just
saying,
if
you eat pancakes,
there
would be tons of calories.
If we're talking about, the defense on a sports team, I think you want to go right to Mr. Clay Travis for the most in-depth analysis. But the guy who eats a turkey sandwich on Wonder Bread with a Mountain Dew every day for lunch because I watch him eat it, I don't know if he is your go-to nutrition guy. I just don't know.
This is accurate. This is accurate.
I mean,
although of late, I have been starting. Now, I don't want to say this because suddenly Mountain Dew may be about to support the show, and I would be very happy. I've been trying to cut soda out of the diet. My wife's been on me for years to not drink sodas, whatever. And so I mostly have knocked sodas out. So that's why I look so healthy now. It's obviously a joke. I'm not the paragon of health. But I will tell you, I think a lot of people's brains are blown by my pancake revelation so far today.
I mean, we're going to have to do a little bit of a fact check on that one. I will say one thing that there are certain foods that I always think you want to pay for the higher quality, right? Sushi comes to mind if you eat raw fish. Don't really want to do the gas station sushi. Some of you probably on the road right now going to see Grandma and Grandpa, Aunt Ethel, your second cousin Phil, whatever. Stay away from the raw fish at the gas station. And usually not, unless it's at, what's the place called that's so fancy?
Buc-ee's.
Maybe there.
You can eat anything.
They probably fly in a chef from Osaka province who has been trained by anyway. But maple syrup, I'm sorry. I think that you want the real. I know the real stuff is much more expensive. It is always worth it. This stuff that's flavored to be like syrup but isn't actually pure maple syrup, it's not the place you want to save your cash.
It's a good point because there are lots of times when you pay a lot of money and you can't tell the difference. I'll give you an example.
Wine for me. I'll just admit it.
Wine. I can't tell. I can't tell. You could have a $1,000 bottle of wine or $100 or $50, whatever a normal bottle of wine costs. Can't tell the difference. Steak, a really well-cooked steak makes a tremendous difference.
If you don't have the right product when it comes to protein, particularly red meat, it doesn't really matter how good you are in the kitchen. And I'm pretty good when it comes to steak preparation. If you don't have a good cut of meat, it's always going to be kind of just meh. So you need the good foundation there. Probably true of a turkey as well. A large turkey, you want the good stuff. Although my mom has always been the one. I've never even bought a turkey, so I do not know the turkey
I have
stuff.
bought a turkey before. I'm just giving the shout out here. Honey baked ham, honey baked turkey, best ham, best turkey anywhere on the planet. Have you ever heard of this brand, this honey baked place?
Yeah, sure. And honey baked anything is going to be good.
I bet there are lines out the door at every honey baked place out there. They do the best turkey and the best ham anywhere on the planet.